Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Where Are You in Your Online Course Wednesday webinar put on by the ITRC. My name is Ryan Randall. With me today are Paul Lynch and Mark Cooper, and the three of us will be talking about how to include instructor presence in your online course. This is part of a small series of Wednesday webinars that we have about facilitating different types of interaction in your online courses. So what we'll do is we'll have question and answer session towards the end of this, but you're welcome to put questions in the chat as well as we go along. So first up, what is instructor online presence? Well, there's an excellent article that is open access with all of the different resources that we've put today. We have a slide at the end, so you can link to those and read them later if you'd like. But the community of inquiry model says that there are three different types of presence in any course. There's cognitive presence, which you can think of sort of as critical thinking, engagement, intellectual engagement with the content. It's sort of the top of levels of thinking if you're going to think about Bloom's hierarchy. Then in the middle is social presence. That would be things like students' emotions, the sort of group rapport, their individual motivations, and how you as the instructor can help them feel motivated and sort of support their motivation throughout the course. And fundamentally, at the foundation that all those others build off of is instructor presence. And that's what you as the instructor can build into the class through your course design beforehand. And then also you can use this kind of instructor presence through your facilitation, different things that you do throughout the course. So another article by Riggs and Linder talks about instructor presence in terms of the architecture of a course. So imagine a classroom where you walk in and instead of what you expect, you see all of the chairs in a circle. You'd immediately know from having grown up going to many, many classrooms that today probably you're going to do a workshop. Maybe the class beforehand was a creative writing class and they had been doing a workshop. You're going to have to change the chairs if that's not what you anticipate, because that's going to facilitate a different type of interaction than what you might expect. Or if you see all the chairs lined up just towards the instructor, you think it might be a sort of standard lecture class, lecture session. Depending on the classroom, if the chairs are on wheels, you might even be able to alternate session by session to create different types of interaction. And as students or as instructors, we understand that sort of physical design and how it can help center the instructor's presence or help the students cohere as a group in different ways. These are things that online we have to build in. We have to sort of intentionally create that architecture to create the different types of presence. So that instructor presence, it's foundational because the other types of presence build off of it. And as I said, you can design it beforehand by thinking about different elements you'll put into your course. And you also would practice it routinely with different things throughout the course. Those are things that Mark and Paul are about to tell us more about how to do. So up next, we'll let Mark tell us more about why instructor presence is important.
Thank you, Ryan. Okay. Instructor online presence is important because it creates a thriving learning environment. And this is where students want to learn and they want to be successful. And so this is the community of inquiry model, the social presence that Ryan was talking about. Instructor online presence decreases student isolation. So in an online course, there's a greater transactional distance between the students and the instructor than in a face-to-face course. So it becomes easy for those students to feel isolated, which decreases their engagement in your course, and it lowers their confidence and self-worth. What instructor online presence does is it increases student persistence in your course, meaning persistence meaning the student's ability to stay engaged in the course and not drop out or drop off. So let's take a look at some of the research which consistently supports the importance of online presence in achieving student satisfaction and engagement. Student responses to a survey conducted in 2006 indicated better achievement of learning when an instructor was present and available in the classroom. A 2013 study of 23 online courses found that the interpersonal interaction was the most significant predictor of a student's grades. And students in low interaction courses, according to this study, earned nearly one letter grade lower than students in high interaction courses. So it shows you that the more you are in your course, the more successful your students are going to be, because you're facilitating the course, you're facilitating their interaction, and they're staying engaged in the course. And so they're not falling off, or they're not feeling left out or isolated. So up next, I'm going to turn it over to Paul, and he's going to discuss how you can increase online instructor presence in your course.
Great, thank you, Mark. So now that we've identified instructor online presence and why instructor online presence is important, let's go ahead and cover some ways that you can increase your own presence in your online courses. First, let's look at aspects of course design. Designing for an online environment. As Ryan stated at the beginning of the webinar, we've been trained to identify different types of in-person course structures. So whether or not we have desks in blocks, maybe we have them in a circle. Those are things that from our personal experiences, we've come to be able to identify. Unlike online learning, we need to actually build the environment that we want to create. So if we want to have an environment that has instructor presence built into it, we need to include that when we're building and designing our courses. Next is the syllabus. So we want to make sure that we provide instructions and expectations for how students will interact with the course, with the instructor, and with each other. An approach you could take is using what's called a liquid syllabus. So this would be a publicly accessible document, and it would also be available prior to the start of a course. It includes an instructor introduction and includes a tone that is friendly and encourages student support and success. This is an opportunity for you to be able to humanize yourself to your students and to be able to humanize the course. Next, course navigation. Providing explicit instructions on how to navigate the course. Typically, this could be done through a course navigation or course tour video. So again, you're creating the opportunity to present yourself to your students. Then course structure. So this would be how the content is presented to the students. So for example, if you're leveraging modules, you want to make sure that you have modules organized similarly, so students are able to identify workflow patterns early on at the beginning of the course. This is something that you can also touch on in the course navigation video. Next are instructor videos. So let's take a look at introduction videos. This is an opportunity to introduce yourself to, or introduce the course and yourself to your students. Introductions can vary from a more formal introduction, or it could take an approach that would be considered appropriately casual for the course. Bumper videos. These would be short videos that wrap up outgoing content from one module and also introduces content for an upcoming module. And then micro lessons and lectures. These would be short instructor created videos that focus on one topic or concept from that module. Next, interacting with learner activities. Assignment feedback. So going beyond assigning a grade to assignment, if you have the time and you're able to, this would be like providing feedback. So you are reviewing work and Moodle has a spot to provide feedback to that student. If you are providing feedback, something you could consider exploring is, instead of just using writing, expand to include audio or video feedback. Course question and answers. So this would be creating a public space for students to directly engage with you, the instructor, with questions about the course. And then responding to student discussion forums. So you do this if you'd like to provoke further discussion in a forum. This can be a great way for instructors to engage students and for students to engage each other and the course content further. All right. So what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to pass things back to Mark.
Thank you, Paul. This next slide just shows some of the sources where we pulled some of the research information for this webinar, if you're looking to dive deeper into this particular topic. If you would like to learn about creating instructor online presence in your course or other interesting topics related to online teaching or to Moodle, we have a number of resources that you can access. And I'm going to go ahead and place in the chat a link to this particular slide. So you can either scan it with a QR scanner. So you can access our Tiger Tracks articles, and these are short how-to instructional articles that walk you through different functions in Moodle. And so we talked a little bit about using Moodle and some of its tools to help you increase your instructor presence. And so you can go on and you can find information on how to add that to your course and how to interact with that particular technology by accessing the Tiger Tracks. The TRC video library is our library of these short Wednesday webinars that we do every week. And so you can access this video probably later on today or tomorrow, but we have a whole slew of other videos that you can access. You can meet with somebody in the ITRC. If you have a question or you would like to talk to somebody about ways that you can add more engagement or add more instructor presence, you can contact one of our full-time staff simply through email, or you can call the ITRC, or you can come down and visit the ITRC lab in the Oboler Library, lower level. Be on the lookout for future Wednesday webinars. You can watch for announcements in the Idaho State Today. You can also check the ISU events calendar. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a great day.